And we are live today, Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. Welcome to Epic Lunch and Learn. I am your host, Dante Royster, author, mortgage guide expert to helping you obtain a home mortgage, whether it's investment or primary. How are you today? It is cold in the Midwest, frigid temperatures. Not as cold as they said it was going to be, but it's still very cold. And they even put some long johns on today. I'm going to be joined by Jess Ford in a couple of minutes, but I wrote some down for today. Today feels like that moment right before a Chicago snowstorm when the wind goes quiet and the sky hangs heavy like it's holding its breath. And in the distance, you hear people whispering the same word over and over: foreclosures. Some folks say the storm is coming, others swear it's already here, and the loudest voices online, well, they're selling panic like clearance TVs on Black Friday. But here's the truth, the real truth, the kind that isn't trying to sell you doom or fairy tales. The housing market in 2026 isn't going to collapse, right? It's not going to collapse. It's correcting itself, it's reshaping, it's revealing who built on rock and who built on sand. We're seeing more people miss payments. We're seeing banks blink a little slower. We're seeing homeowners realize that the low rate era wasn't a blessing, it was a lesson disguised as a gift. So today we brought someone, Jess Ford, who will be joining me shortly. Because when consumer rights meet shifting market, the people need clarity, and that's why Jess is a huge clarity type of person, wants clear communication. So we appreciate her joining us shortly. But it's true, the thing was, you didn't necessarily earn that lower interest rate in 2020. It was just the timing that when you bought the property, that's where the rates were. 2020 and 2021 were phenomenal years as far as where interest rates were. We saw interest rates as low as 1.75, 1.5, and these were 15-year fixes, 20-year fixes. I mean, there were some great opportunities. And so for those people that were able to take advantage of it, which the majority of America, it appears that they did. I think I saw a stat said 76% of people have interest rates less than 5%. 76. That's a lot of people that took advantage of these lower interest rates. And so, but you didn't necessarily earn it. That's what the market bared, So the market offered the lower rates and you took advantage of them. And hey, kudos. Awesome. So did I. It was great. It was perfect. It helps, basically more money is going towards principal than interest, which is always a positive thing. But at the end of the day, you didn't necessarily earn it. That's what the market gave you. And so now we're seeing people getting into a little financial ruin. People are having some financial issues going on. And due to those issues, that is a situation that we got to figure out, well, what can I do in these situations? Jess,
Hello.
we are dark,
Hang on.
but you like to be in the dark. Oh, illumination.
Hey. Well, that was interesting. But you know what? Your girl doesn't panic, and I figured it out. So.
There's a lot of twists and turns each and every day in the mortgage space. And so that's what we have to do. We have to figure things out.
That's what we do. We pivot and turn until we figure it out.
Now, one of the things I did to start this conversation, I started by letting everybody know today is December 3rd, Wednesday. I thought that was important to start, when I was thinking about you and being on the show.
Oh, you got jokes.
You
Listen,
know,
that shows how much I care. I woke up in a panic. I was terrified for my borrowers. But also I seem to have lost 2 days of life. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a little bright. Yeah, I lost 2 days of life, somehow. But I was ready. Like
man, you two
I
days
was
ready.
on it.
Hey, closing on Friday, but today's Friday. Dante, they're at the table.
I was
It's
on
5 minutes
it.
before closing. Man.
Listen, I a panic, I'm telling you. You know what it was? I think I let it's still my fault, right? But I think I let my borrowers' anxiety all the way from Florida rub off on me. I was like, I have to
Mm.
stop talking to you. I can't talk to you today. Here's your CD. I was like, you're killing me, Smalls.
It's it was a situation where, I tried to be even keel, and you almost got me. I almost went to a 2, like, man, but I was like, "Is how crazy is she?" That was what was going in my head.
Yo,
How
I got me. Okay.
man, so
I sent 4 apology emails this morning.
man, I think I saw a couple. So no, I appreciate you. It was you keep me on my toes. I love it. Keep me on my toes.
It was an interesting morning, but everything is good. That's
Everything
what
is good.
I love. Everything is ready to go. We are in a set it and forget it kind of stage. I don't have to worry about it. Everything's gonna go down exactly as it should on Friday. So
Outstanding. Outstanding. We got a hi. Hi. I love these little short, quick highs. So I
oh
appreciate
hey peeps.
appreciate everyone listening today. It is Wednesday. It's words of wisdom with Jess Ford. Is that what we're saying?
When why first of all, why do I look like this? I need you to tell me when that's happening. Um Wednesday wisdom with Jess Ford.
Wednesday wisdom with Jess
Mm,
Ford. That was a bar right there.
mm,
I think you want this illumination on you. You want people to know that the aura, like when
mm.
you walk in, it's like, wow.
Okay, but I'm not trying to look like Casper. Do you know that was my nickname on the basketball team in high school? Junior high, it was Cabbage Patch. In high school, it was Casper. Kids are so mean.
Man, pass the ball to Casper.
Casper. They put it on a shirt, dude.
Jeez, that's extra.
Isn't it?
But I am short in stature. And I used to have the rec specs going on back in the day. So, Webster, Little Arnold,
Oh,
these were things that
yeah.
I was subject to.
Yep, I get that.
Spud Webb, you know,
Yo,
man.
I don't know. I take Spud Webb as a compliment.
Yeah, little Muggsy with goggles. Man,
Muggsy was one of my favorite players back in the day.
these are all great players, and so I appreciate them. I wish I had the hops like Spud. That didn't quite make my way. I could get up there, but I couldn't do some of the things he could do. Now that
Yeah,
was
not
impressive.
not quite there.
Not quite, no,
Not
almost.
quite there.
Almost, but what I was bringing up earlier was I was talking about, and this is something that I kind of recognize in 2021. Obviously, we received a bunch of low interest rates. Interest rates were open to everyone to get these low interest rates, and one thing that I noticed that I wanted to kind of describe to the audience was that you didn't necessarily earn it. It's just what the market was offering. And
Hmm.
so there's a level of, earning would be like, hey, we have reviewed your financial habits. We have reviewed your credit, is amazing, or you have this net worth. And because you have these amazing situations,
Stream
hello,
StreamYard killing me today, man.
uh, you know, it's one of those situations where, because you didn't earn it from like a financial habit situation, not from a net worth situation. So now these people that have these lower interest rates, right? The bottom of the barrel rates, but now they're getting into a little bit of financial trouble because, there really wasn't habitual changes that were made that like have put them in a better situation. And so now the
Hmm.
struggle continues. I literally just got off the phone with one of my clients. I helped him buy a house, and of course, he's got the 3% interest rate, and he's talking about just how much debt has compiled. He got injured on his job. His wife is working, and so he's kind of playing Mr. Mom. But it's like, man, they've accumulated now, close to $50,000 in credit card debt, and so now they're looking, hey, can you help? Can we,
Yeah,
what can we do? And God forbid, no one wants to touch the first mortgage when you have this low interest rate. But now we're
right.
looking at lines of credit and what avenues can we address. So this is a serious concern.
Um, I am really glad that you brought that up today. I'm ready for today. I'm ready to go through your list.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I put foreclosure as the number one. Let's talk about the
So,
rise in
okay.
foreclosure.
Let's talk about the truth behind foreclosure. Okay. So, I like my data, right? So we are foreclosures are up 20%. And I know that sounds extreme. Um, but really, we've only had 37,000 foreclosures. And I know that may seem like this year, and I know that may seem like a big number, but when we think about it, there are 140 million homes with mortgages out there. So that's 3 out of 10, right? 3% are late on their mortgages. So that's only 3 out of 100. So the national rate overall, right? So it's one in every 3,871 houses had a foreclosure filing. And most of those are coming from just a few states. It's like 6 or 7 states where all of this is happening. Um, California, Utah, Nevada, Iowa, Illinois, Ohio, Ohio,
Oh,
um,
yo.
Ohio, and then Maryland and like Delaware is like this much.
Now you would bring up Ohio because state took it to you guys.
Whoa, you need to calm down. I don't know why you're so feisty today, but
Ma-
whoa,
I'm just saying.
no.
I mean, we don't really get into that. We kind of look up and watch you
Do
two go at it every year.
do I say anything about your Bears?
Man,
Huh? Wow. Chill
I'm
out.
sorry. I apologize. Big Blue is blue, over the
Good
weekend.
grief.
I think the biggest thing that I saw them do was trying to protect the M, right? They didn't want the players to stomp on it like they stomped on the Buckeye.
Because Ohio, listen, Ohio, like I won't even drive my car into Ohio during football season. And the couple times I've had to, I back into my friend's driveway so my license plate can't be seen. Like their fans are not like they take it too far. Let's just say it like that.
I mean, I guess I was expecting what I saw the score to be, and so I guess I was kind of like, hey, at least it wasn't worse. I mean,
I feel
but
like it's
I
time
don't
for
know.
you to move on.
Okay, I'm not a college football fan, so I just am a spectator. I just saw the highlights. That's all.
See, I really like college more than pro.
Mm.
Well, you know what? I take that back. I That's how it's always been up until about now because I don't know, I feel like when pros are, obviously playing for money and endorsements, but those kids, they're still playing because they just
For the love
love
of the
the
game. That's
game.
what. But that has changed now with the NIL.
Exactly. So whatever.
I mean, when you're making millions of dollars at 18, woo,
Yeah,
changes your
crazy.
whole perspective.
Crazy.
Well, it's funny on a quick tangent. I read an article and it was talking about like the surge in YouTube, right? Obviously, we're on YouTube right now. We're on LinkedIn and Facebook, and they were talking about the surge of like YouTubers making money. And
Mhm.
I had the fortunate nature. One of my clients is a YouTube personality, and I got the tax returns, and I was like, how much do they make? And my customer was making about $80,000 doing YouTube, and I was like, "Whoa, seriously? Are
Yeah,
you
that's
kidding
crazy.
me?" And so I didn't, because I just thought it was like, really, is this real? And it was, and so the concepts were when I was reading this article was about how kids are making this type of money, and so it's changed the whole dynamic in schools because some kids are like, "Why am I in high school? I'm a sophomore. Why am I even here? I make more money than you, teacher. Maybe I should be teaching you video and lighting, you know?
That is a real thing.
That's
My
a thing now.
my baby brother, right? He's how old am I? He's 28 now. But when he was 7 years old, his mom is wealthy. But my baby brother says to me, he's 7. Why do I have to go to school? And I was like, well, bud, I mean, you got to go to school to learn things so that when you grow up, you can go out into the world, be a good person, make money. He was like, yeah, but I'm already rich and I know how to count my money. So why do I have to go to school? I knew from that day on my baby brother was going to be a problem.
It's distractions. Taking it back to where we are, it's about distractions. There's so many distractions that are out there that lead you into blind rabbit holes, and it's
Hmm.
like, where are you going? What are you doing? So like, what is the purpose of even trying to be a good steward, in this world? What are you trying to accumulate, in this time frame? What are you trying to become?
It's a good way to look, especially, my mindset. Be a good human. I think all of our motives are different. I am predicting that this is gonna glitch in 10 seconds. Just FYI.
God, negative Nancy. I didn't know I was with negative Nancy today. I think she did that on purpose. She clicked off on purpose. So it's yeah, she is having some technical difficulties, but hopefully she'll join us shortly. But yeah, as far as some stats that I did see, they said foreclosures are up 8 to 12% year over year, depending on the region. Now, I want people to be mindful, because there is a level. Is it hype? Is it real on the foreclosure surge? I mean, remember, you couldn't foreclose on anybody during the pandemic. So if the pandemic was from 2020 to 23, let's just say a 3-year realm, there was no foreclosures. Everything was, hands off. Lenders were doing loan modification agreements. They weren't really looking, it was a bad look, obviously, during the pandemic with you know, so much things happening. So what ends up happening is now that we're starting to report all these foreclosures, it looks to be like a major spike, right? It looks to be a huge spike that is occurring. But I would just want to temper that expectation or temper that mindset that maybe foreclosures are not as bad as we would assume they are because the pandemic. You jinxed yourself.
I felt it like my spidey senses tingle. You get one negative Nancy a month.
All right, Julie Jinx. Can I
That
call you
was your
Julie Jinx?
no, because I'm not you. I am not a technology jinx. Okay. I do. There are look. Sometimes I don't watch certain sports games because I am a jinx. Like as much as I wanted to watch the Michigan game this weekend, I did not because I'm a jinx.
You might have helped them actually score a touchdown. Is that what you're
Mm,
saying?
no, I doubt
Oh,
that. No,
okay.
no, it's never gone that way.
Mm. In the Chicagoland area, we have a lot of people that will, come here, because of the metropolitan area. Over 3 million people, live in Chicago. With the Chicagoland area is massive. So we get a lot of alumni bars, right? So we have a University of Michigan alumni bar, and all the Michigan grads will get together and watch the games, or, Wisconsin, Indiana, you name it. We have a Pittsburgh Steeler bar, and all the Pittsburgh fans from
Yeah.
back in the 70s get together and watch Pittsburgh, or Dallas Cowboys is prominent here. And even the, Green Bay Packers. We still have some Packer
Go
fans
Pack, go.
around here. You better stop. You better stop now. Now you're crossing the line. See, we got a big game this Sunday.
Listen, though, I was a Packers fan from the time I was like 7, 8 years old. Um, and I know that's blasphemy in the land of lions, but like real talk, Detroit sports been letting me down my whole life. Like it's
I
like a
mean,
bad best friend.
beside the Red Wings, I mean, you had the
The
Pistons
Wings are
run.
my guys, though. The
Yeah,
Pistons did have a run.
they had
How
a
long
run.
ago?
Man.
That's okay, because you know what? When the shock comes back, it's gonna be
Mm.
all about the shock. The shocker gonna come back, and them ladies are gonna take it. They're gonna take it home for us.
They were winning some titles, right? With Bill Laimbeer as the head coach, and Carl
Hmm.
Malone's daughter was
Yep,
playing. I
those were
remember
some of
that.
my favorite games growing up. It was
Wasn't
cool.
Katie Smith still playing back then?
Who else we have? Like we had some swoops. Cheryl.
She wasn't there. She was on Houston.
Cheryl. Oh, we had Cheryl,
Yes.
didn't we?
No, you did not have.
Oh man,
It was Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson, and Cynthia Cooper in the Houston Comets.
you right.
Don't mess with
You
me.
right.
I
My
know my
bad.
sports.
My bad, homie.
You in my realm. I
You right.
dominate in the sports category. Trivia, no problem. Yeah, yeah, it's just it was interesting because the Chicagoland area is a professional dominant, fan base. It's, White Sox, Cubs, Blackhawks, Bulls, Bears, and the kind of the outliers are, the Fire. Obviously, Chicago Fire went to the finals of MLS soccer their first year, and then they've been Garbo ever since. They made the playoffs finally for the first time in a long
Oh,
time this
nice,
year. Yes, but yeah,
nice.
so we don't really we don't really have that same allegiance or love for college sports, right? Up here is Northwestern, who, you know, actually you guys are getting Pat Fitzgerald after the craziness that happened at Northwestern with him and hazing. He's going to Michigan State. I saw. He's
Mm,
your new football
uh,
head coach.
don't say your, okay? There.
Spartans. I'm sorry.
And they
You're
can
Big
spur you
Blue.
on with all of that. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But you know
And
what? Honestly, I only hate on Michigan State when we're playing them.
okay.
Other than that, I'm not gonna wear it. The only time I wear green and white is if I'm wearing my alma mater, Eastern, go Eagles, right? Because we're green
Okay.
and white. So I'm not gonna wear a
Ypsilanti.
Sparty on my chest. Yep. Dave Chappelle calls it ipsilipsy.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I,
Um, I feel like we've digressed.
yes. I played ball at Calvin College.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did. I'm
Hmm,
very familiar. See, I was closer than you think.
you were.
That's funny. Yes, we were talking about the rise of foreclosures.
The rise of foreclosures.
And
Okay, so
is it
yeah.
real or is it hype? I
It
think it's a little hype.
I think it's a quite a bit of hype. So, I mean, there has been a what was it? 19 we're okay, so if we're looking at the year over year change, we're up 19% from 2024, but like look at the number we're working with. 140 million, right? So 37,000 foreclosures and like with the landscape of our economy, that I mean, I feel like we're not doing too bad. Um Yeah, like but I think it's a lot of hype. There is a whole lot of fear mongering going on in the world right now around a lot of different things, and this is definitely one of them.
I agree. But I also, talked about the spike, right? The spike that probably occurred just coming from the pandemic for 3 years, where the answer was zero, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
now, everything's back to normal or the new normal.
So let's talk about that. So the 2008, if we're comparing 2008 to 2025, so um it's really important to understand why, if we're reading or watching the news, why these big guys in economics are not really, they're not crazy worried about the housing market because it's just fundamentally different. 2025 is fundamentally different than it was from 2008. And we are in a more stable environment. Now, yes, both periods involved, right? They have similarities. So they involved high home prices. There were a lot of concerns, or are a lot of concerns about affordability. But if we look at the causes of what happened in '08 and what's happening now, they're polar opposites. So, like, all right, 2008, main problem was, quite honestly, irresponsible lending and excessively leveraging credit and equity that wasn't really there.
Right.
Whereas for us in 2025, it's more so of a lack of inventory and affordability. So our supply and demand crisis, which I know we're going to talk about later. And then 2008, once again, irresponsible lending, loan quality, Nina's Niva Sissus, right? So no income, no assets, no job. Just you have a pulse, sign here.
Were you
Where
speaking English right there? Neva Simba. Simba? I was like, what?
yeah, Nina's Niva Sissus. You
No
remember those?
income verified assets, stable
Yeah.
income Yes,
Right. So our
man.
subprime mortgages,
Yeah.
interest only loans were a lot more common then, and not just on investment properties.
Mhm.
Whereas now, right, our guidelines are what people describe as extremely tight, right? We've got higher credit standards, lenders who are being very strict about how they verify income, which I know people hate, but like we're trying to avoid another housing crisis. And then you've got inventory. So in 2008, we had a massive oversupply, whereas in 2025, we're at a historically low supply. Um, Equity, 2008, we people had very low to negative equity, right? Whereas now, 2025, we're at a record high in equity. Mostly because people don't want to refinance and lose those low rates, but we're going to get to that later too. Um,
16 trillion in tappable home equity across US
16
households.
trillion with a T. That's
T.
crazy.
It is crazy.
In like 2008, right? Ton of adjustable rate mortgages that led to payment shock before those, before the rules and guardrails were in place to keep people safe from those. Whereas now we're at like 90% of 30-year fixed rate mortgages. So, and then the financial system altogether, right? It was completely different before it got revamped in 2008. So banks were leveraging and exposing people to toxic mortgage-backed securities, right? Your triple Bs, your Cs, um, which led the whole system to collapse. And now we've got regulations like Dodd-Frank and the CFPB for as long as it'll be around.
I mean, everything you're saying is the reason why it's not another duplication of 2008.
It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
It is absolutely
Um,
not.
but we have to I think overall we can't be passive moving into next year. We have to be
No,
aggressive in nature. And let's talk about some of the products, right? Products that are making a comeback into the marketplace, and products that we need to start paying attention to and seeing how we can take advantage of them. And let's talk about you got a closing coming up on Friday, down
not
in
today, Wednesday. Yes,
yes, not today. It's
not
on
today.
Friday, the 5th.
The fifth,
Um, but
because today's the third.
yes, but they are taking advantage of a product that, is making a comeback in the marketplace and needs to be used more often. What is it?
They are. I'm very excited that they decided to do this. So, my clients who are closing on Friday are taking advantage of a buy down. Um, so we can do the options are a 2-1 buy down, a 3-2 buy down. So essentially what that means is you're going to take your current interest rate. So let's say that today's interest rate is 6%. Let's say that's the rate they took today. So what that means is if they're doing a 3-1 buy down, so the first year their interest rate is going to be 3%. Second year, their interest rate is going to be 4%. Third year, 5%. And then that fourth year, it comes up to the 6% that they signed up for. So they're lowering their monthly payments. And that was the goal. They bought this big, beautiful new house. I'm very excited for them. They have two small children, right? Two kids under 10, a dog under 2. They're expensive. Um, and one of them just got a new job. We don't know how that's going to go, right? Um, so they wanted to mitigate their risk and go with a lower payment. So we're doing the buy down. Now, the beautiful thing about this, right? I'm sure people are thinking, well, what's the catch? Well, this just means that we have about 4 years to figure out what's going on in the market. They can refinance at any time in between there. There are no prepayment penalties. So next year, right? They can refinance if rates happen to go down enough for it to make sense. But the idea was that they are keeping their monthly payments lower for a few years while the economy kind of figures out what it's doing, while the housing market figures out what it's doing.
That's super cool. I
Yeah.
mean, and once again, just for the audience to know, can they pay for that? Can everyone, when they're buying a house, pay for it out of their pocket, or how are they able to take advantage of this buy down offering?
So the borrower cannot pay for it themselves. So it needs to come from either the realtor or the seller. Now, in this case, our seller was giving $25,000 in concessions. So, first thing we did was buy that buy down, and then anything left over went towards shaving their closing costs down. Um, and when it comes to a buy down, I mean, it's really just about having a good realtor, right? So we know that anybody can open a lockbox, right? But that's not what realtors are for. They're not just to show you houses, they are there to be your negotiator. That is the whole point. The whole point is for them to negotiate that contract back and forth, negotiate a deal. Like, shout out to their realtor, high five to this guy. He got $25,000 in concessions. Awesome. There's so much we could do with that.
It's humongous.
Yeah,
Um, so this is a situation where this is something that buyers should be looking into, especially,
absolutely.
going into it's something that hit me. It said monthly mortgage payments are up 92% compared to 2020. And so, and I thought about that because, a lot of times people were looking at, you know, let's just say if we took the average mortgage payment is about 2,100 a month.
Hmm.
And I think people were used to, somewhere between 1,500, 12 to 1,500, no more than 1,800. And now 2 grand is pretty much a normal baseline.
Right.
And so that's going to take an adjustment, right? That's going to
Hmm.
take an adjustment to your budget. And so if you have the ability where you can actually buy down the interest rate to try to get it lower, just so you can get adjusted, give yourself a little bit more because, hopefully
Little
as you get
breathing room.
older, breathing room. And
Yeah.
as life goes on, hopefully you're getting raises, a job hop, like your customer, with maybe a better paying job, more
Hmm.
stability. Hopefully those price adjustments can actually, work out in your favor. So that's huge. The buy down is something that definitely want to see us do more of as a company, and definitely something that we should be promoting more. So kudos to you, Jess, for getting us going on that.
Hold on. I'm high five myself and say it's from you.
There you go.
Awesome.
It's the air.
It's there.
So you know, another product. What are your thoughts on arms? I know arms are always a interesting topic. I got a guy call me yesterday. Client of mine said, "Hey, I'm looking into commercial spots," and he was looking at arms. Because he wants to try to get the lowest payment possible. What are your what are your opinions on arms?
Um, okay. Arms. Depending on, which one we're doing. Um, so okay. Pre 2008, I would have said, eh. Post 2008, well, technically post 2010, like arms can be a very good product. I think I've probably done about 10 arms over the last 2 years. Normally I see I don't even want to say my financially savvy borrowers. It's not because that's not even what it is. It's the people who pay attention to the numbers, the people who like to pay attention to the dollars and cents, what I refer to as breaking down to the ridiculous, right? So down to the penny. I mean, they are normally, you'll get a lower interest rate, initial interest rate. Um, I was pricing out arms the other day, and right now, well, no, 2 weeks ago, they weren't looking super great. But normally, right, we're lower rate, allows you some increased affordability. Arms are really, really good for short-term situations. So for instance, like I have a closing on Monday? Monday. Yes. All right. So I have a closing on Monday. And initially, they asked about an arm. It turned out because they only plan, right? We're doing a 30-year mortgage, but they only plan to be in this house for 5 years. Like
Mm.
they have a plan. So had arms been priced better at the time, that would have been a great option for them. It just wasn't right now. It just where rates are right now, that week that we needed to lock, it just wasn't looking too good. Um, but I mean, arms are a lot safer now that they have the rules around them, and I think that's what people are most afraid of, because they were at one point used to be one of those predatory subprime products, but now it's different, right? We can do a 5, a 7, a 10. Um, but the biggest draw is the
Yeah, I
initial
think
payment.
yeah. Initial payment. I think people are fear some of the arm because of generations that have gone through and it didn't work out for them.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you reference, the longer terms are now being offered, the 5, 7. A lot of, previous 20 years ago, the only things that were being offered were 2-year and 3-year arms. And that didn't really necessarily give enough time for them to, change financial habits,
Right.
adapt to the overall situation. So that really was a struggle that a lot of people face. So having the ability to actually kind of say, let me stop and pause and, from a mortgage industry aspect, and let's try to give them something a little bit more sustainable, a more timeline, I thought definitely made them a little bit more less risky. But I
Mm-hmm.
think I think it's just a mindset that, you sign the paperwork, and your friend, your neighbor, your coworker say, "Oh, you getting a 30-year fix?" "Oh, no, no." They said, "Oh, don't do that. Don't do that."
Oh, yeah.
I
And
think it's a lot of fear
I
mongering.
had that conversation about arms and reverse mortgages. That was an intense conversation this morning. But I think people also don't understand that arms are not completely open ended. They have built in caps that limit how much the interest rate can actually change.
Hmm.
So I think that was a big thing pre 2008, right? 2010. I say 2008 because we all know 2008, but the new rules didn't actually go into effect until 2010, which meant that administration took 2 years to rewrite all of the rules for the entire US financial sector, not just mortgages, everything, payday loans, car loans, whatever. Like that was intense and fast. And I mean, they've been keeping us safe. So,
Yeah, and then
kudos.
before we go to housekeeping notes, what about DSCRs? I mean, that's becoming a common phrase in the space. Even consumers. I want one of those programs. I want one of those programs where I don't have to show my income. How does that work?
So, all right. DSCR loans for invest right, these are for investors, so let's be clear about that. Because people just don't know what they don't know, right? Um I
Okay.
am right. Because I'm optimistically cautious about DSCR loans. Like I love the opportunity that it provides the investor. So for those of you that don't know, DSCR loans are all based on the cash flow of the property. So if I'm an investor, instead of qualifying off of my income, we're going to qualify the loan based off of essentially how much rent you're collecting. And in its simplest form, if you're collecting enough monthly rent to cover the mortgage payment, we're probably going to be good to go. Um, DSCR loans do have prepayment penalties, they do have higher interest rates, they require larger down payments. Okay, cool. Right? I guess we call them cons. They're really just safety measures. Um, but the pro is right that we're not looking at my income, we're looking at the income of the property, which allows me to go buy one, two, three, four. I say I'm optimistically cautious because there's only so much control the investor, the owner has, right? So if I have 10 properties under these DSCR loans and then a global pandemic hits and people can't pay their mortgages, they may fall like dominoes. I mean, they can't pay their rent, right? They could fall like dominoes because all of this is based off the income of the property. Um, but on the other hand, I do like the opportunity that it creates for investors. And guys, when I say investors, I am not talking about these companies that are snatching up loans left and right. These big corporations, right? Or these people who live in one state and then go buy 3 blocks in another state. I'm talking about the everyday you and me human who has made a quick LLC to hold these properties in, or maybe you're doing it under your own name. I'm not talking about these big guys. Not right now. Just talking about the everyday person who's looking for a little bit of extra income.
They the thing that makes it better than, maybe let's stick with the 2008 segment, was that loans for investors back then were 5%, 10% down.
Mm-hmm.
These all are requiring 20% down
20%.
products.
Yep.
So in theory, if we run into that scare, global pandemic scare, people aren't paying their rents, you should have the ability to sell your property. Before even if the softening, you should be able to still be able to pay two realtors, sell, or pay one realtor with the new rules and laws, and get out unscathed. And so I think there's more of an exit strategy that they have
For sure.
implemented now, with the more equity that you put down. So, and case in point, it has limited investors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because 20% down is a big nugget. I mean, so I was talking to a lady this morning, and she was like, "Hey, I want to buy an investment property." And I was like, "Well, how much?" She's like, 110,000. And I was like, "Okay, with closing costs and down payment, you probably going to need about 32,000, just ballpark."
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Whoa." It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's how much money you're going to need. So, and I think that, and obviously it can vary from state to state, but it gives you a sense of like, okay, if I want to buy 110,000, that's 32,000. Well, geez, what is it if I want to buy a 300,000? So it has limited the, just the one timers.
Yeah, you gotta be serious about it. Like the DSCR, you're people aren't just, oh, let me drop 10,000 and see what happens, right?
Correct.
If you're getting into a DSCR loan, you are serious about, maybe it's only one investment property, maybe it's two, but you are serious about it. Um, it's not something you're just gonna let go of when you're not interested anymore, right? You're
Correct.
not just going to let it falter. You want your money back. So you will put the effort into keeping it up and then selling it if need be.
Correct. All right, let's get to some housekeeping notes.
Housekeeping.
Jess, how can they get a hold of you?
Ooh, so as per every week, I am going to throw a link in the chat. By the way, guys, if you end up following me, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, send me a DM. Say hello. Let me know that you are a new follower and you found us on this YouTube show. So you can reach me at Jess Ford at jfordcorp.com. jfordcorp with a P, but don't worry, it's going in the chat. Give me a call. Shoot me a text if you have questions. 313-673-6108. And for YouTube, I just dropped my link inside the chat. Instagram, I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to drop my link inside the chat.
Super cool that you were able to set up Instagram. I'm so like jelly.
Well, I would like to
That's
invite you
great.
next week. I'll set it up and you just have to accept the invite.
I think I'll say yes, maybe.
Huzzah!
Oh my goodness. Yes, this episode today is sponsored by Epic Mortgage. Whether you're buying, investing, or refinancing, call Epic today, 708-905-5300, 708-905-5300. It's your dreams, your goals. Let's plan together. Now, if you are looking for a holiday gift, Jess, is right around the corner, 3 weeks, T minus 23 days, I believe, somewhere
Mm-hmm.
around there. You can check out the book on Amazon. It's called The Ultimate Mortgage Guide. If you have anyone that you know that is looking to buy a house next year, that's their goal, right? We always have our New Year's resolutions are coming up. This is going to be my year. I'm going to buy me a house. Then they need to check out the book, get your learn on, get prepared, understand different strategies, understand different products that are available to you and broken down for you. It starts off with the Ultimate Mortgage Guide. Make sure you get your copy today. And after the show is over, if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, definitely want you to go on to YouTube. Check out our latest Epic Spotlight. It's with Audrey Earhart. Audrey Earhart is the CEO of Practice 42. Discover tangible strategies for scaling your law firm, eliminating chaos, and building an unstoppable team, even in a virtual world. Audrey shares her inspirational journey, the best kept secrets for firm profitability, essential estate planning tips, and the latest crucial legal industry updates. Whether you're a law firm owner, business leader, or seeking fresh leadership insights, don't miss this extraordinary episode packed with actionable guidance, motivational stories, and the keys to transformative success in law, life, and business. I had a great time with Audrey. She brought a lot of energy. It was really fun. So definitely after the show, make sure you check it out. Audrey Earhart, Epic Spotlight Podcast. And then we do have some preferred listings. And you know what was interesting? I had a conversation today. I speak a lot. I talk to a lot of people. And so I was
Mhm.
speaking to someone today about the preferred listings. And the lady said, "What is that? What is that?" And I was like, you know what? These preferred listings are listings that we know the listing agent. And what that can mean potentially is that we may be able to get our offer accepted over someone else's because we know the listing agent, they know the type of work that we do at Epic Mortgage, and they feel comfortable that, hey, if you can bring us a buyer, we might just say yes to your offer. No guarantees, no 100%, but it gives you a likely chance. So if you're out there and you have been pre-approved and you've been looking, and you can't find what you're looking for, and maybe one of these houses fits the mold for you, hey, this house works for me. It'd be great to get pre-approved with Epic Mortgage, and that listing agent might say yes to your offer. How's that sound, Jess? Does that sound amazing?
Sounds amazing to me.
I thought so. So people were asking me, so what does that preferred listing mean? So we do have some preferred listings, and then you put it in the chat. I'm going to put it in the chat here. You can find all properties that we have available on my website, DanteRoyster.com. What's super cool, there you go, DanteRoyster.com. What's super cool about it is that we have about 14 preferred listings right now. So these are ranging from condos to multi-unit to single-family homes. So you can take pictures and look at all of them on DanteRoyster.com. So make sure you check them out. A couple that I wanted to stick out today. We just got a hot one. This is a 4-bed, 2-bath, 3,000 square feet.
Mm.
3,000 square feet going for $265. It's 770 Sibley Boulevard, Calumet City, Murtis, Baton. Call her 708-715-6414. This actually has a preferred loan officer who happens to work for Epic. So contact Shinneray Patrick, 773-454-9740. 773-454-9740. Ask for Shinneray Patrick. She can help you grab this one. This actually is the only property that's not on my website, but this is a hot one that just popped up. 4-bed, 2-bath, 3,000 square foot, going for $265. I don't think it's going to last long, to be honest, Jess. But that's gotta go. But we do have 12707 Simbay Court in Jacksonville, Florida. That's a 4-bed, 3-bath, going for $388. Contact Charday Nix, 904-520-8041. We have a condo, 2-bed, 1-bath, 2030 East 72nd Place, Unit 3D, going for $99,000. Who says affordability is lost? Contact Evelyn Woods, 773-718-9742. We have a multi-unit building, 6832 South Bishop in Chicago, 6 beds, 3 baths, going for $240. Contact L'Oreal Flowers, 312-774-4230. And we have a very nice single-family house, 445 West 125th Street, Chicago, going for $294,965. It's a 5-bed, 2-bath. Contact Sebastian Kupiec, 773-430-8988. All other properties are available on my website, DanteRoyster.com.
The link for your book, The Ultimate Mortgage Guide, is also in the chat. So if you come here every week thinking, oh man, I'm gonna look it up after, no worries. Just click on it now. Save the tab.
Super cool. Thank you, Jess. Techie.
I got you.
All right. So maybe you're not Julie Jinx. Okay. All
I'm
right.
not all the time. Look at me copying and pasting links.
OMG. Let's see how you do. All right. So we have some questions here. Let me try to get to some. Adam writes, do you think that the rising foreclosure numbers will actually shift buyer behavior? Ooh,
Mm,
does anybody pay attention until it happens to them?
yeah, till it happens to them. I don't think so. Because okay, so we're also not in an environment like again post 2008 where all of these homes were foreclosed on and everybody was going to buy the foreclosures, right? So there are so few foreclosures. Like I said, I know it sounds like a lot, but like it's 3 out of 100, right? So we're not just sitting where entire neighborhoods have a foreclosure every other house. These are spread out few and far between over 7, 8 states. You
Mhm.
know, so I don't really think it's going to shift buyer behavior.
Yeah, I think I was talking to an insurance agent and we were talking about life insurance and how most people don't have life insurance until it really affects them.
So they need life insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they've been a part of a funeral where everyone's passing the hat to try to
Hmm.
cover, and then like, dang, I don't want that to happen to me. I better get some life insurance. So I really feel like the foreclosure has to happen to you before you really feel like it can actually impact you. So I don't think it will shift buyer behavior. It is more noise and distractions that you'll hear in the news, and the news sells fear. Um, maybe
Absolutely.
so maybe a couple stragglers that still watch the news and still pay attention might be like, oh man, I don't want that. But I think right now we're in a declining interest rate market, and it's going
Hmm.
to further decline potentially next year. So I think we're in a good space overall. Vince chimed in. He says, sell the house and start over.
What's up, Vince? But yeah, for real, sell the house and start over. I get it. I'm assuming he's talking about our DSCR conversation based on where his comment is.
Probably somewhere around there.
Yeah.
um, I think overall that's a strategy that you can use, right? If the house is overwhelming, and especially if tenants aren't paying, that's a
Hmm.
problem. I think you may have to press the reset button.
And you know what? I love that. I love that Vince just said that, right? And you using the word reset. Most of us listening on this call, right, are of we're in a 3 generation gap, right? But we all know when we play video games and you lost your third life, you just started over. Okay, Mario's gone. Let's do it again. And I think that people forget that while there are few things in life where you get a do-over, this can be one of them. You can start over. You can do it again because you are going to learn by experience.
Sure. I mean, we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. All of us. No
Hmm.
one is going to be left in this world that did not make a mistake. I have made multiple mistakes, and you learn from them. And I think the key to anything in life is what do you do afterwards?
What do you do after? How do you react to it? How do you handle it? Absolutely.
Keep moving. I have a client, haven't spoken to her in years, but when things were to happen to her, she would kind of go into her shell, and she would
Mm,
just, and she would really shut down for weeks to days, and it was hard to get a hold of her. And I said, so I started calling her Turtle. I said, Turtle,
turtle, turtle.
I need you to come out your shell, please. I would leave her messages like, Turtle,
Yeah.
I need you to come out your shell. We got to get this done. Like, I understand, something might be going on, whether it's in your personal life or in the business that we were trying to conduct, but I need you to come out that shell, Turtle. Come
Yep.
on. You got to peek out that head and go to work. So I do understand. I mean, life is going to happen. Life be lifing, was what I was saying yesterday, and we have to make adjustments and make it happen. So, but yeah, that is a great example. I got a question from Rick. Do you think 26 will bring more opportunity or more pressure for buyers?
Oh, I think a little bit of both, right? I think there will be I think there will be some opportunity in 26 for sure. I think that when I say opportunity, I'm thinking about some of these products that are coming back, right? I think about how some of the pricing is going to change, not just in the cost of getting a mortgage, but home prices. Um, I feel like buyer pressure is, I don't know if you guys haven't noticed, I like to operate in ones and zeros, right? Black and white. I feel like buyer pressure is extremely emotional, which is fine because we're human, but you got to separate it, right? You can have your emotion in this box, but you got to do your ones and zeros on paper over here. And I feel like looking at that from a through without emotional eyes, when you can think clearly and write the numbers down, I think that is what relieves a lot of the pressure. Like personally, a few years ago, I sold my house. I love my house. I think about my house every day, and it's been 4 years. But I had to look at it from a financial position, right? I love it. It was my safe place. Oh, I'll never find another house like it. But I had to look at it from a financial standpoint and go, is this worth it? Right? Do I just need this feeling, which I can find somewhere else? Or do I pay attention to these numbers that make more sense that will actually impact me the rest of my life?
Mm.
So, a little bit of separation, right, of the thought patterns, and then find a way to bring them together where you're happy, but also successful.
I I talk about my client this year that we started a plan 14 months ago.
Hmm.
And the first step was we got the line of credit. The second step was we bought a property and she did a fix and flip renovation loan
Nice.
and she bought it for 130,000, put $70,000 into it, and then in September of this year sold for 375,000. She made $175,000.
Nice.
And that phone call of just rejoice after, check cash and it cleared in her account. And she said, Dante, in only the way she can say it. And just that screech and of just pure happiness.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I mean, so, and I say that to say because it's 2025. There's,
Mm.
values are going up. There's no opportunity out here, so it's all what you want to plug into,
Right.
and I want this channel to be a plug of positivity and light and optimism of what's possible. So I'm going to always say, hey, 26 is going to bring more opportunity and you just have to be ready when it comes. They talk about, oh, what is it? Luck. It's when preparation meets opportunity. That's the definition of good luck. So to be lucky is to make sure that you're prepared. That you're pre-approved. You know you got the strategy that you want to implement and you're ready to go. So I think there's tons of opportunity. There's always is opportunity out there. You just have to be ready.
Right.
And she was. So, kudos to her.
That's
And
awesome.
man, Christmas at her house. Man, I wish I was one of those kids.
Right.
Man,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I needed Santa needs to put a list. I need a mail like, here's my list. So that's funny. All
He's
right.
just kidding. We can't take kickbacks.
No,
Little
no
law joke.
kickbacks. No, no kickbacks. No.
Mhm.
How can a new investor capitalize off of the foreclosures?
Oh, I think that's a pretty simple one. So, one, if you're tracking the foreclosures in your area, which is absolutely a thing you can do with the power of Google, um, most of the time, depending on where you are, right, especially in like largely populated urban areas, metropolitan areas, a lot of these foreclosures are just going for taxes, right? People got behind on their taxes and couldn't keep up. Um, so if you can buy a home for taxes, you're walking into a whole lot of equity, which is great, right? Do a DSCR loan, get a renter in there, have them in there for a little bit, and then pull some equity out of that home, go do it again. And then
Exactly.
again, it's a wash, rinse, repeat kind of system. Um I but let me okay. just one quick piece of advice, everyone. If you are looking at foreclosures or rehabbing, right? Do yourself a favor and stay in one area. Try to look at for these properties in a 1 mile, maybe a 2 mile radius of each other. The closer you can get them together, the better. Because you're going to end up creating your own comps. You're going to drive the value up of all of the houses around you. So to buy a house here and then buy a house 15 miles away, those two houses can't help each other.
Mm.
Okay, those two transactions they're just completely separate. They cannot help each other. But if you can pick an area to focus on, um because when we look at appraisals, we're looking at what sold in the last 90 days in a 1 mile radius for the most part. um Create your own comps, especially if you're going to flip.
I like that. It makes a lot of sense to create your own comp, stay in areas that you're comfortable with, stay local to where you are. I think that's the key. It's like instead of and sometimes it's a shame because it's like you hear of these opportunities and you see them, but it's like that's 50 minutes away from me. I ain't dri I mean, because you have to think about it. Like, what if the roof collapse, or what if there's a break in? I ain't driving there.
Right, you have to, right, the emergency, right? If you don't have a property management company, and even if you do for like a roof collapsing, you need to be there, show up.
Correct.
But like if it's something where like, okay, I'm gonna manage my own property and a pipe burst, you don't want to have to drive an hour to do that, right?
Correct.
You want to, and also, if it's me, right, I want to be able to drive past my property every now and then and go, hey, you still there? All right, cool.
I see
You know,
you. I see you. Yeah.
hey,
No, I
right?
get it. I get it. No, yeah. Investing within your own community is probably is a great opportunity, and that way you can see it, have visible touch to it if you needed to, and not be too far away. So, I think that's how you capitalize. But yeah, just Google.
Yeah, for foreclosure, you can Google looking at foreclosures. Very very easy. You can break it down by city, county.
All right, let's keep it going. We got a couple more, and then we'll get this wrapped up. What is the biggest signal that a correction is actually coming? Inflation,
Right?
interest rates. Interest rates decline breeds inflation. Inflation breeds we got to spike up prices. I mean, there's a lot of I guess it depends on what correction are we talking about.
I I'm assuming that one, Rob, great question because it opened you are talking about so many different things at once, right? So many things that affect each other. But if I am assuming that you are talking about values, home values and maybe like the cost of interest rates. I don't know, man. um It's just it's been a weird this has been a weird year. This is the first time in 16 years that I can't confidently say, okay, I can see what's coming. Um,
Yeah,
it's
every year it's a different chapter, and I think sometimes the corrections and the signals, we know more about them after the fact. It's a lot of data
hindsight.
comes in, yeah, and then you like look back and be like, oh, we don't know that the lowest price of home values were 2012 until we get into 2018, and then we can look back and be like, oh, that
Right.
was the bottom, and now everything has been going up since then. So I think we need a little bit more time to see, but obviously something's brewing. But I don't know how much of a correlation everything is to each other. I mean, and that's what the Fed do, right? They're monitoring, the unemployment. They're monitoring, the jobs. They're monitoring, inflation. And it really, and everyone has an opinion, just like an appraiser.
Yeah. Zing. Um,
Man,
I do think by the end of Q2 next year, I think home values are going to come down. Um, I don't want to speak into the universe why I think they're going to come down because it's actually pretty sad, Panda. But I do think they're going to come down, which will create some opportunity for people.
Awesome.
But that's my opinion,
I
right?
think
That's
we
my
got a
prediction.
couple. Could rising foreclosures create new investors? Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with, our DSCR products and the fix and flips, right? And guys, when you hear fix and flip, you don't have to flip necessarily. You can fix and hold,
correct.
but you need a lease agreement. You need a renter in there. You can't just sit.
Yeah, I mean, basically with the fix and flip, it's a 12-month, it's a 1-year balloon. And then after the 1 year, you can do an extension. You can have up to 2 extensions for 3 months. Now you got to pay for each extension. Some extensions are like $2,500 just to pay, just so you can continue to pay your mortgage, and in hopes that you're going to refinance. So you're either going to sell the property or you can refinance it into a 30-year fix. And then that way you can buy and hold it. So you can virtually renovate everything. There was just a point in time, and obviously we don't have enough time to go into today, but there was just a point in time where Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were just sick of investment properties, and they
Hmm.
virtually just got out of the market. Didn't even want to really do them. But there was so much, potential occupancy fraud and a whole host of things that were kind of accruing, and that they just like hands off. So they just allowed non-QM, which is primarily DSCR and fix and flip products, just to kind of grow. And they're like, you guys deal with this stuff. And
Yeah.
so now this whole marketplace has just soared, to levels that I don't think anyone realized they were going to get to. And now all traditional lenders are now having to offer this product. You see UWM, you see Rocket.
Hmm.
All of a sudden now they're doing it, like, whoa, and
Yep.
we have a presentation tomorrow with them going over their DSCR product. So it's just one of those things that traditional lenders have had to pay respect, and we see it in our pipelines,
Yeah.
that we're seeing a vast majority of deals that we're doing with investors that are out there, and maybe they have money from the pandemic. Who knows?
I'm pricing out 2 today.
There you go. Will inventory normalize once rates drop, or is that chaos sticking around?
Ooh, inventory.
Chaos.
Yeah, okay. So I feel like inventory will eventually work itself out. Um so the thing is, once rates drop, right? So people don't want to sell their homes because they're not trying to let go of those 2 and 3% interest rates, right? Um, I actually know some people who are still in the twos, right? So anywhere, even fours. But once rates become more advantageous, these people who've been waiting to buy a new home, to move, they will, and things will start to normalize. Also, um, I know a lot of us spend time on on Zillow, right? Or we get these listings from our realtors. And what I've been trying to really preach to the few realtors that I work with is that there's plenty of inventory out there, but sometimes you got to put some elbow grease into it. So we've been talking about these fix and flip loans, cool for investors. But as a primary residence, we have plenty of renovation loans. As Americans, right, we like to buy everything brand new, which is why we have so much waste. But let's say there's a home in an area, the perfect area, right? And this home could be great if it had A, B, and C. It can absolutely have A, B, and C. We just look into a Fannie, Freddie, FHA, or VA renovation loan for a primary residence, right? So you can take what's already there and make it what you want. And the cool part about that is by the time you're done making it what you want, you already know what your future value is. It's really neat. If you have questions, reach out to me.
Awesome. And then we got loving the episode, great video, great guests.
Hey,
Hey, we appreciate that. Thanks for
we
listening.
do.
And then loving the episode, great video, and great guests. Appreciate that.
Oh, hey, there's Paula.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Regular.
Yeah, we got a couple. I see a couple names. I'm like, oh, I've seen you. Make
Make
sure.
sure to mention that the buy down money gets refunded if you refi before the time. Good point, Vince.
Vince always chiming in. So I appreciate that, Vince. I'll see
Vince is
you on
the gym.
Monday. I think that's all. That's it. That's all. We did it. Another week in the books. We got a new podcast coming out tomorrow, so hopefully, you guys check that out. It'll be something I'll be promoting next week, and then got a new monologue coming out on Friday. So we doing that thing. Did you see my monologue? I think I sent it to you.
You did. I was in
Did
a
not listen to it.
listen,
Oh, you
I
were
was in
busy. You were busy.
yeah,
I
right?
remember.
I wasn't even in the country. Come on now.
Understood. Understood. You were in a whole different world dealing with some stuff. So if you get a chance, I was talking about Black Friday.
I will listen to it today
Okay, I was listening to Black
before
Friday.
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
There we go. Just a little tidbit. Tell me what you think.
Oh,
Tell me.
really? You think I'm not gonna give you feedback?
No, I know it's coming. One way or the other, it's coming. Hey, appreciate you. We did it again. Words
We
of Wednesday,
did.
Wednesday
Wednesday
wisdom.
wisdom.
Wednesday wisdom.
You're gonna get it. Don't worry.
Actually, funny, and this is how the subliminal works. I think wisdom is something I'm talking about on Friday.
Ooh, yay.
Little hint. But
All right.
hey, you have a great day. Have a great closing. Appreciate you. I guess everyone will be watching the Bears on Sunday. The Bears versus Packers.
I feel like
The
everyone
marquee.
is extreme, but okay.
Thursday, I guess tomorrow, Dallas and Detroit. Losers out of the playoffs, picture.
Yeah.
We're going to see. We're going to see. All right. You have a great day.
Right. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, everyone.